guys, we are here with our oldest resident at Chateau Madeleine, Helen. How are you doing, Helen?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. Can't wait for 2 more days.
2 more days, you're hitting 100 years old.
Yeah.
And if in case you didn't know, we are sitting in 1922 right behind us. That's how it was. And I took you back in time. I had no idea. That's some craziness of what's out there back in the day. You are 2022, 1922, 100 years old. You could have fooled me.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember 122, but I'll say this. My parents came from Italy with 5 children. And so my brother was just 1 year old, so they came and lived in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. And then 2 years later, I was born in 1922, of course, and my kid brother was born 2 years later. Well, the only thing I can remember in my youth is I was 4 years old, my sister being the oldest child, so I was her flower girl. And I have a picture, and I can't find it, and I'm so sad.
Don't worry about it.
I'll have to have my family go through all of my books that I have. But anyway, and so I was born across the street, and then my parents bought a house right across from that, and I lived there until I was 14 years old. And then my parents bought a newer house, and we got to move in a town called, I can't remember, and it's M with an M. I'll think of it eventually.
She's had a lot. Your life has really been long.
Yeah, and I have been doing so much, I'm forgetting, but that's okay.
Don't worry about it.
So later on, World War II was started, and I was 19 years old when that started. And so what did I do? The men all went to the war, and I was working in different places the men were there, so they needed women. So I started doing that, and then they were making a plane out of wood. And so they thought, I don't know why, every plane was metal or iron or whatever it was. And so there was me doing, remember the thing we wore? We had to do this, what am I saying? Give me a second. I was Rosie the
Riveter.
Riveter, and with a wooden plane. I did that for 2 years, and finally they stopped it because we made one, and it didn't work.
Oh my God.
So we lost our job, and I had other jobs concerning making things for the war.
Well, I tell you, you have a lot of
I did a
stories.
lot of things. I never thought I would do that. Finally, after the war was over, I was doing my sister, my mother's, anybody in the neighborhood. I loved to work on their hair. So what did I do when I was older? I went to beauty school and became a hairdresser, and anything you can think, making women's hair, body, or anything beautiful. And then I had to go after I went for 6 months straight, like a school, 5 days a week, and walk down. It wasn't too far from Cincinnati town, downtown. I walked. I didn't have to. I could have paid 20 cents for a bus. I loved walking. I walked back and forth many a time.
How much was the ticket for the bus? 20 cents, you said?
Well, no, I think it was 10, no, yeah, 15 or 20 at that time.
And that just shows how long ago this was.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, Helen, I just want to say for the record, and I know you have a lot of people that are looking at this, you are, if not the busiest and most active resident here that gets to most of our activities. I mean, I could never imagine that you're 100 years old.
Well, when I came, I was only 98, but anyway, I came.
That was such
here.
a long time ago.
Yeah. But when I came here, well, I'm back to my doing things for the war, and then I became a beauty person, you know. I did hair. I loved it. Did that for 11 years with the same lady, and I just didn't move. And then finally, I met my husband. We got married in 1930.
Don't worry, it was a long time ago.
100 years from now.
I can't believe that you are able to remember all this.
Well,
And
I do, but I'm having some, I think I'm excited
Don't
by
worry,
doing
yeah.
this. But anyway, we tried to have a child, and I couldn't, so we decided to adopt her. And so we had the lady come over. It was the Catholic Charities who did that. So she came, and now that was in we were married in 53, 1951 or 2 or something like one, I think. So finally she came. At that time, you couldn't get a baby if you were 30 years old. My husband happened to be almost 12 years older than me. And so so when she came, she said, what kind of a child I want? I said, I would love a child from Ireland because my husband has blue eyes and I want a blue-eyed child. So she said, this lady from Catholic Charities, she said, oh, in Italy we have a baby boy who is so adorable. And my husband said, well, take it. I said, wait a minute, I wanted a child from Ireland so I can have blue eyes like you. Well, he convinced me. I said, okay. So about a few months, she comes back with a picture of him, and he was less than a year old. He was adorable. I fell in love with him. I didn't care if he had ears or something. I didn't care.
changed your life, right?
He changed our life, and he was such a beautiful boy. So wonderful. He was not in drugs. He stayed with us, and he went to school, Catholic school, from not kindergarten. They didn't have a 5-year. They did have 5 to 9, 8, and then he went to Catholic school right next door to almost not our home, but not even. He had to climb a hill to go there. So he did that, and then he went to college for 2 years, and then a friend of ours was in the army, and he was a recruiter. He recruited my son to go to be in the army. He comes back and said, Mom and Dad, this fellow's name was Dad. He said he wants me to join the army. I said, no way, my husband. I said, no way. You're going to finish college. He said, don't forget, it's free if I went there. This fella convinced him of all these things.
Wow.
You can save money, Mom and Dad. And I said, give me 2 weeks and maybe you'll change your mind. He didn't change his mind. And so he joined it. It was terrible. Went to Missouri.
What?
And we went up there for his, graduation, 6 weeks. Comes home, and was home for a month, and then he goes to the Army. Came home when he had time to come home, it was only about a 6-hour drive to down in, not Tennessee, I forgot, somewhere south. So he came home all that time. And now I'll go back. And while he was home making money, he worked cutting grass. And then there was a friend of my husband said, this boy is very good. Maybe he would like to be using the, when you're cutting grass.
Weed whacker?
Yeah, no. It
No,
had wheels.
push mower,
We had wheels
a
on.
tractor, you drive on it?
Yeah, and he was driving on that for Procter and Gamble area. He was, Procter and Gamble was, had a big place in Cincinnati. Still do.
I tell you what, you've got a lot of stories, and I know we could talk all day long
that's
about
too
all of your stories. But I tell you, you have something that many people would love. You're not only about to be 100, but you've got it. She's quick, she's with it, and mentally as well as physically. If I talk to her tomorrow about anything we speak about today, she'll remember it. Sometimes quicker than me.
Oh, well, you should have stopped me then. I do this. I go from the time I was little till the time I
It's
die.
photographic memory, and that's what you have. But I tell you what, I want to tell you, I know there's a lot of celebrations that are coming up, and I know next Friday we have Elvis is coming here.
Yes.
Just for you. We have this big party for you.
Yeah,
And
I'm thrilled.
I want to tell you, I'm honored to have you here at this community.
Thank
and
you.
know,
Thank you.
I look at you
Thank you.
as a family member.
I do
really
too.
do.
I do too.
I've known you from the beginning, and this is a wonderful celebration. Helen, let me start by saying, here, happy birthday. And I know we're gonna plan your 105, your 110 maybe. You're gonna live many more years, and you've really blossomed here at Chateau with everybody here. We all look at you as family, so thank you.
Thank you.
Let me give you a hug.
Okay.
Happy birthday, all right?
Thank you.
No problem. Happy birthday. That's right.
I'm throwing you a kiss.
Yep, and she's throwing it to Evelyn, who's on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Start by waving to the camera. We're saying goodbye. We got to come back to 2022. I'll see you later. Bye.